Matterskin, going through a brief decision tree for people who own a unique asset. So the first question is, do you own a unique asset? And that can be a family business. It could also be ownership of a legacy piece of real estate, an art collection, and sometimes all three. Now, if you do not own such a unique asset, then what you're really going to be looking for is wealth management. And we'll discuss later the wealth management index to see where you should concentrate your efforts in getting your assets in order. But if you indeed own an asset, the next question is, do you want to sell your asset? And you either do or you do not want to sell your asset. Now, when you are in a position where you decide that you do want to sell it, the question then comes, do you have a plan for selling it? If you don't have a plan, then you need to develop a transaction plan. If you do have a plan, then you have to wonder whether you've got the resources. And this is both the time, effort, and expertise and experience to be able to execute on that transaction plan. If you don't, then you will need to gather the resources, and then hopefully you can then say yes, in which case you're going to be looking at a succession plan. If you don't want to sell, then I need to know what I need to keep doing, need to do in order to keep your unique assets. Either you do, if you do, then you have all the resources you need to keep the assets. And if you don't, then you need to gather the resources. And if you do, then you are working on your succession plan. Now, if you don't know what you need, then you have to say, why don't you know what you need? One of the questions is because there's a conflict. If there is a conflict, you need to resolve that conflict. And this is using something called an evaporating cloud, which is a way of resolving conflicts without compromise. If there is no conflict, then you have to say, well, what is the future reality that I would like to have? And go back to saying whether or not that would inform you as to whether or not you know what you want. And then you'd be able to have either a succession plan, or if you don't know what your succession plan is going to be, develop it through a strategies and tactics tree. So this is a very brief way of being able to say, how to step through the process of dealing with a unique asset. And finally, if you don't know whether you want to sell it or not, then one of the devices you can use is a current reality tree. And that'll allow you to define what you want, either to sell or to keep. So I hope this has been helpful, and I will speak with you next time. Thank you.